if you didn't have a plan to do something that day, why would you carry a tomahawk with you, right?
Willie D. Live.
You know what I'm saying? Because all of us want to get there, right?
Right.
So everybody's going to fight just as hard to get there as the next guy, right? So, that's the way I'm looking at it. When all of this stuff went down, at any point did you think about your kids, like your actions, how your actions would affect your kids, or did it not really strike you until you actually ended up convicted and had to do time?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it wasn't premeditated. So it was like, and people, and this is something that you haven't asked me, but people may be like, how did this guy, why, if you didn't have a plan to do something that day, why would you carry a tomahawk with you, right? And so they had several rallies in D.C. prior to this rally since the election, November 3rd, I believe the election was 2021, or November 3rd, 2020, sorry. And they'd had rallies like November and a couple in December. And at those rallies, people, D.C.'s a dangerous city, chopper city. And then, but people had been stabbed, people had been robbed, people had been jumped. So they told us, whenever you guys are going to D.C., be prepared because it's a dangerous city. And they expected Antifa or counter protesters to be trying to separate. The theory was, and I believe that it came true, was that Antifa and these counter protesters were going to be dressed as Trump supporters, and they were going to be attempting to cull them from the herd, to separate them from everybody else and hurt them or rob them or beat them or do whatever they're going to do to them. So a lot of people came with pepper spray or knives, or they, instead of a flag stick, they had an axe handle or whatever it was, And so people were prepared, but what they didn't expect was for the police to be the ones perpetrating the violence. When I think about it was so spur of the moment that after I had been beaten and then that guy told me hey, they're killing people out here, it was, and witnessing, people being beat, it was so spur of the moment. It wasn't I intended to go do that, because we went and got coffee and snacks before we even went up there. And it wasn't even, if I was going to go commit an insurrection, I would have went straight from the rally, straight to the Capitol and been burning it down or whatever I was going to do. But no, so I didn't think about it in the moment. It was more of a, preservation of people. And I think about situations that, people are quick to pull out their phone and record stuff. Instead of doing that, if a cop is, if cops hurting somebody and it's over the top and you can see that, then separate them, get in the middle of it, or be like, hey man, you need to chill out, even if that means losing your freedom. For me, that's what that means.
So if you were in Minneapolis when Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck, you would have intervened.
I think that would have been the wise, because if you say we got to get there together, we got to see the humanity, and that's a man on the ground who ended up dying. And that's a police officer supposed to be protecting and serving. There was nothing that guy was going to do on the ground. Once he had him in handcuffs, he wasn't going anywhere. So why do you need to kneel on his neck? You need to get off of him. And if it meant me going to jail to just tackle him or do whatever it was to get him off of him, then George Floyd might be alive. And that's what I think. We've got to see the humanity in each other. Whether George Floyd broke the law or not, we have to take that into consideration, that that's a human being, and what that guy is doing to him is dangerous. And we need to show some sacrificial love and get in there for that man,